Last time, we began a very different story, where the Saiyans in Universe 7 are actually good. But what happens after Planet Vegeta's destruction? We'll be covering that and more in the second part of What If Saiyans Were Good. Frieza's hunt for the Saiyans begins. Well, it's already been going on, but now he ramps it up. He's getting very serious about it and very angry about it. To make things even better, he makes an example out of all the Saiyans he catches. Of course, it's not like any Saiyan is going to turn themselves in after this or give him info, but this is more so a message to everybody else. If anyone's caught harboring Saiyans, they'll face the same types of punishment. Anyone aiding the Saiyans is an ally of the Saiyans, and therefore, an enemy of Frieza. He doesn't really get much info out of them. It's not really going his way so far, and it just makes him angrier in the process. Their resilience holds them back from breaking, but no matter what Frieza does, he can't get info out of them. And many of the Saiyans who get captured die by fighting and trying to make their own way out. Years go by like this. One day, Frieza gets some pretty big news though. King Vegeta has been found. Of course, finding Saiyans has been tough in general, but finding King Vegeta in particular, that's been a big goal of his. So this is a huge development because he knows King Vegeta probably has a ton of info. He's probably not going to give it up easily, but Frieza has his ways. As much as he wants to kill King Vegeta on the spot, it's probably smarter to keep him alive at the moment, at least when he's finally captured. On a desolate planet, King Vegeta's been located alone. Well, seemingly. Some Frieza Force soldiers arrived there, and they all ended up dying, but they did ping Frieza, letting him know where King Vegeta is. This was only moments ago, so let's rewind a bit. A few hours prior, Vegeta was using a scout scope and he actually did pick up something. A couple of powers are approaching his planet. They've actually been hopping from planet to planet, and they haven't been staying in one place for a while. But he realizes he probably can't keep running anymore. But he also can't just escape right now because they'll be able to track his ship right in space. But he has a better idea. If he waits for them to land, then he could send off another ship. He's already lost most of his allies, his wife included. But two people are left with him, Vegeta the Fourth and Tarble. He wants to ensure their safety. So he waits for the ships to land, loading Vegeta and Tarble onto their own ship with a random destination. He tells them he'll catch up to them soon, but no matter what, they need to survive. The two of them do want to help fight, but he says that's not wise. This is the better option. And thankfully there is one more person alongside him, the only ally of his that actually survived and the strongest ally of his too, Nappa, one of his higher ranking soldiers. Nappa wants to fight as well, protecting King Vegeta, but King Vegeta gives him a final order. He entrusts Nappa to take care of his two kids, and Nappa can see what King Vegeta is planning. He's planning to die here, isn't he? He's basically acting as bait, and this way, Nappa and the two kids will be able to escape without being noticed. It'll look like King Vegeta was here alone, and there won't be a paper trail left behind. Nappa tells King Vegeta they need a leader for when they reunite, but King Vegeta says they'll have one, and he points to the younger Vegeta. It would be great if he makes it out of this alive, but King Vegeta knows what his fate is. And whatever the case may be, he will reunite with Vegeta someday, whether it be here or in another world. But he wants that to be long in the future. So, he must fight here alone. The Frieza soldiers land. King Vegeta flies out to them, saying his goodbye to Vegeta, Tarble, and Nappa, leaving Nappa conflicted as he has to take the two of them away. Thankfully, there's only a few soldiers here, and they landed pretty far away. They found one strong power on this planet, and it seems like a ship landed here recently. But that's really all they know. But then they encounter King Vegeta himself, the perfect distraction. With them preoccupied fighting him, this allows Nappa and crew to escape. The recon is focused on King Vegeta himself, and Vegeta is sure to make a really big distraction, creating an artificial moon in the process. Nappa and crew escape unnoticed as King Vegeta defeats all the soldiers there, and now he sits here and waits. He could leave this planet on his own. He will be followed, of course, but he knows that regardless of what he does, this will be his end, so he'd rather die fighting than being shot down in space. Frieza arrives not too long after, seeing a great ape King Vegeta there. Before the ship even lands on the planet, he opens his mouth, firing a beam at it, blowing up the massive ship and leaving a bunch of soldiers stranded out in space. A few of them survive and land on the planet, with Frieza of course being a part of that. But as Frieza descends on the planet, King Vegeta then grabs onto him. At first Frieza wasn't really too concerned, but now he feels Vegeta's power. He can't actually escape his grip. But that doesn't make sense. The Great Ape shouldn't be this strong. It seems that in this time, King Vegeta actually has grown stronger. And of course, being a Great Ape multiplies that power tenfold. Zarbon is one of the soldiers nearby that was able to survive. Looking at a scouter, he can see King Vegeta's at a power level of about 650,000. That's impossible. That's even higher than Frieza's current power. It even surprises King Vegeta himself. He didn't even bother to check his power recently. But amidst his desertion, he has been training, and he has been injured a bit too, growing stronger as Saiyans do. He tries to crush Frieza, but he feels a burning sensation in his hand. Frieza's ki skyrockets, and he transforms. Breathing heavily and a bit panicked that he even had to do this. He was a bit taken aback seeing King Vegeta's power, but more so he's angry that he has to use this form, and that anger clouds his judgment for a bit, as he fires a powerful blast, completely eradicating King Vegeta. The remaining soldiers are all equally shocked, first at seeing how strong King Vegeta was, but also seeing Frieza's second form, which they've never gotten to see. and he angrily tells everyone to search the planet now. King Cold arrives not too long after, amused to see Frieza in that form. They look pretty similar now. Frieza acted too rash there, but Frieza says he didn't. He wanted to be sure King Vegeta would die, and King Vegeta actually might have been strong enough to kill him if he hadn't transformed, as much as he hates to admit it. This worries him even more. The Saiyans are growing stronger, and he knows that if he caught King Vegeta, he wouldn't have been able to get info out of him. There's no way he would have broken, but it seems that he was here alone, and the soldiers confirm no one else is here, and it doesn't seem like anyone else is left here. But Frieza knows that King Vegeta has sons, so what happened to them? That'll have to be his next priority. Nappa, Vegeta, and Tarble travel through space, knowing that that's probably the last time they'll ever see King Vegeta alive. But they remain stoic. The planet they were sent to is one that's really far away, a planet called Cereal. A long time ago, it was cleaned out by a group called the Heaters, with a new population living there. This was supposed to be a job for the Saiyans, but of course they're not doing that here. The Heaters alone were enough, though. They land in a forested area. And Nappa pulls out a scouter, one of the newer versions of the scout scope. Thankfully, he still has one of these, and he can detect a power not too far away, and it's in the triple digits. This does concern him a bit, so he goes to scope it out, telling Vegeta and Tarble to stay here. He's gonna do this covertly just to figure out who's here. He comes pretty close to a small house, and he detects the strong power inside. But his scouter then picks up on another smaller power, and Nappa then hears someone right next to him. It's a kid, pointing his fingers at Nappa like a gun. What's this creep doing here spying on them? A man then walks out of the house, and Nappa can see that he's probably a Namekian, an old one at that too. And then he yells out at the kid to stop. The kid's name is Granola, and he tells the Namekian he found this guy stalking them. And Nappa says it's a misunderstanding. Thankfully, he diffuses the situation, and they all learn about each other. This is Granola and Monaido. Granola is the last survivor of the Cerealians, the former species from this planet. Weirdly enough, he and Nappa, as well as Vegeta and Tarble, they share similar backstories. They're the last survivors of a dying species, executed for personal gain. Monaido has heard of the Saiyans, and he didn't realize they were still alive. But the same kinda goes for Granola too. The thing is, the Heaters do know about Granola, and they plan on using him for work. But if they were to find out about the Saiyans, that would be a pretty big issue, especially because they do work with Frieza occasionally. Monaido says they're welcome to stay here, but they probably will run into trouble. And it would be dangerous because if they're found, the Heaters will kill everybody. And hearing this kinda makes Nappa happy. That's gonna be their only obstacle? Well, he's sure he could figure out a solution. After all, they are warriors, and this would definitely be a worthy cause to fight for. Vegeta and Tarble are then introduced to Monaido and Granola. Thus begins their new story. Saiyans are spread around the galaxy, but their numbers dwindle. Paragus and Broly end up on a planet called Yardrad. They're the only Saiyans that ended up there. Luckily, it's pretty peaceful and it seems to be off of Frieza's radar. But Paragus starts to work on training Broly because they could use that power. If Frieza ever does find them, Broly could be the key to victory. Thankfully, the Yardrats are very welcoming, but they also seem to have their own unique skills that they could teach. Vegeta, Tarble, and Granola all grow up together, considering each other brothers, with Nappa raising them. They're able to hide out from the Heaters pretty well. Nappa's trying to keep a low profile because even if they can fight them at the moment, they really shouldn't, because unless they can catch the Heaters by surprise and kill them right away, there's still a huge chance news gets to Frieza, and then that puts this entire planet at risk, not just them. Thankfully, the Heaters don't come here too often, and with help from Monaido, the Saiyans learn to control their ki, making their presences unknown. Granola also does work with the Heaters from time to time, growing stronger that way, but of course he's not loyal to them. This is just an unfortunate reality, and Nappa's going to free him from that eventually. They're all going to grow so strong that the Heaters won't even stand a chance. And more importantly, Frieza won't find out. Vegeta and Tarble are pretty motivated, but more so Vegeta. He wants to grow up to rule the Saiyans again. After witnessing his father's sacrifice, and knowing what Nappa knows, this is his duty. He's the prince, but he will be the next king. He'll bring the Saiyans back to their former glory. They'll be a proper civilization again. We shift over to Namek. Raditz and Kakarot begin training under Bardock, who trains with Nail and Guinea too. Bardock and Guinea need to grow as powerful as they can, so they continuously train. The two former squad mates are still growing stronger together. That's initially how Bardock and Guinea met, and it seems they're back to their old ways. Nail becomes their comrade as well. Thankfully, Namek does remain peaceful. They haven't been found yet, and they all grow stronger together. We skip forward even further. Nearly 20 years after Planet Vegeta was destroyed. Atop a tall mountain on Namek one day, a young adult sits there, meditating, training his mind. It's Kakarot, but he senses something, pretty far away, but it seems to be coming this way. He's of course learned how to sense ki, thanks to Nail. And right when he senses something approaching, an ally arrives nearby. He felt the same thing. It's Raditz, equally confused as to what could be heading towards this planet. Is it finally time to fight? They know it could happen at any moment, but they're not necessarily ready yet. The two brothers wait as the energies get closer and closer. Over this time, Frieza has continued to hunt more Saiyans, and his empire has spread. But he knows more Saiyans are still out there. His army collected a list of confirmed kills, and also put together data based on how many ships the Saiyans had, and what their population numbers were. He's not sure how accurate this is, but estimates put the remaining number of Saiyans at under 100. Likely less. Although new Saiyans could have been born in the process. He's not entirely sure though. But there is one in particular that always has evaded him. Prince Vegeta. Vegeta the Fourth. All this time went by and no one was able to ever track him. But for the first time in nearly 2 decades, he emerges once more outside of Planet Vegeta and outside of Planet Cereal. 4 people land on Planet Namek, with Kakarot and Raditz standing ready. The ships land not too far from them. First, a man with green hair steps off. Of course, they don't recognize him and assume he might be a threat. But followed behind him are 3 other people, with pretty shocking appearances. They're wearing Saiyan armor. Kakarot right now isn't wearing Saiyan armor, but occasionally he does. Raditz, on the other hand, always wears his Saiyan armor. Same for his parents. Kakarot's attire represents the fact that he was born on Namek, the start of a new generation, while Bardock, Raditz, and Guinea remember the past, keeping that old Saiyan culture alive. And naturally, they recognize these outfits immediately. The people that step off are Vegeta, Tarble, and Nappa, as well as Granola. Vegeta makes eye contact with the 2 other Saiyans, not knowing who they are, but recognizing that they're Saiyans right away. And he smiles, glad to have finally ran into some other Saiyans. But these aren't the only Saiyans alive. On another far end of the galaxy, 2 spaceships land on a small planet. It's a pair of Saiyans, brothers actually. They've evaded the Frieza force for a while and have been hopping planets a bunch. They don't really have a place that they can call home, but they've been doing well for themselves. Their travels brought them to this planet called Earth. They're not time travelers, but they're dressed as if they were, wearing ancient Saiyan armor. They found this a while ago and thought it would be pretty cool to wear. I wanted to include them here so we'll have some new characters. In this story though, they are from the present, each around Vegeta's age. The Saiyan twins, Shallot and Giblet, declare Earth as their new home. Hopefully they can find other Saiyans soon, but in the meantime they could at least find a new life here. And with that, we'll leave off here for now. What do you guys think about this part and what's going to happen next, especially with everything that I revealed in this part? Leave your thoughts and ideas in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help out the channel and shows me I want to see more videos like this. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.